Hello everybody and welcome. In today's video, we're going to talk about how to create space in a 3-4-2-1 formation. And let's get started with an overview. Here's our formation. 3 center backs, 2 defensive midfielders, 2 wing backs, 2 attacking midfielders, and a striker. The 3-4-2-1 is an effective formation because you can overload the midfield while still being defensively sound. But when I was building my tactic, I had a lot of early struggles, so let's get to our club and talk about the issues I had. The club we're with today is Cerezo Osaka in the top division of Japan. Here's our early results. Losing 7 matches in our first 12, and just generally not playing very well. This was my first tactic. I love using wide center backs, especially on the support and attack duty, so I started with them. On the left-hand side, the idea is that the center back on attack would get forward towards the byline, and the one on support could be more in the half space. The ball-playing defender would act as a pseudo-playmaker who could dictate tempo a little bit on the cover duty. And the 2 defensive midfielders would give us protection as the wide center backs move up. The biggest issue when trying to create space in a 3-4-2-1 formation, at least for me, is spacing. With 2 attacking midfielders and 2 defensive midfielders, it's easy for players to run into each other and mark themselves out of a match. Movement between player roles usually needs to be more coordinated when compared to a formation like the 4-3-3. In the next section, we're going to look at a match example to dive a little deeper. This was an early match that we lost 1-0 and didn't really do anything right. Here's a longer sequence. We'll start with our throw-in right at midfield. Nothing too exciting as my ball-playing defender moves it to the wide center back and then out to the flank. But with the wing back on the ball, here's where we're going to start to see our issues. Watch the wide center back on attack and the deep-lying playmaker on defend. They are standing right next to each other, which means one defender is marking 2 of my players. We also have spacing issues up top, which we'll get into in a bit. As we pass it around, we're not really doing much. The wide center backs aren't able to influence the play like I thought they would. When my defensive midfielder ends up with it, we have 4 players behind the ball, meaning our attacking 5 can be marked by their defensive 7. We get a free kick, but nothing comes from it. So you see, with a 3-4-2-1 formation, you can have both movement and spacing issues. And this issue also crops up with the front 3. If we go back to the tactic, my idea with the front 3 is that the complete forward on support would drop at times, the shadow striker would make those forward runs, and the attacking midfielder on support would sit a little deeper. So let's look at another example from a different point in that first half. My ball-playing defender is on the ball, and we're going to focus on the front 3. The shadow striker, complete forward, and attacking midfielder. When we're building possession, so not quite into the final third, our front 3 are all kind of doing the same thing. They want to drop to receive the ball. Especially here, you can see how condensed my team is. No one is really making forward runs from our front 3, and it's all very predictable. This is what I would call possession for possession's sake. We have the ball, but we're easy to defend. Now that we've identified some key issues in our tactic, let's head to the next section and talk about some fixes. There are 3 main areas I want to focus on to fix this tactic. The overarching issue is that we have too many players sitting deeper and not enough players putting pressure on the defense. Our spacing was off too. We had multiple roles occupying the same area of the field, making us easy to mark. And we didn't have a true goal-scoring threat. With this many midfielders, we can afford to choose some player roles who are focused entirely on attacking. We'll start with fixing the front 3. I need them to put pressure on the defense. We have plenty of people defending. I changed to a poacher and a trequartista, and kept the attacking midfielder on support. The 3 of them will give us variety in our movement and give us that scoring focus. With a more attacking front 3, I chose 2 defensive midfielders who will now get further up the field. The segundo volante and the ball-winning midfielder, both on support. These are aggressive midfielders, so I switched the back 3 to all defend duties. The libero on the defend duty in particular will help cover the gap between the defenders and the midfielders. I left the wingback roles because they were the lone bright spot in our tactic. The changes I made in my player roles were all about moving my players up the field to put pressure on the opponent and create some scoring threats. Let's check out how these changes have played out. It starts with the opponent's goal kick. We settle possession and my wingback is on the ball. With the ball-winning midfielder on support, he gives us that patient presence in the midfield. The segundo volante on support has moved up the field, and the libero on defend has moved into the open space in the midfield. Now let's check out the trequartista. He's a playmaker and wants the ball, so he'll look to find open space. And he gets it because the poacher is now pressuring the backline. With the trequartista on the ball, now look at our spacing. The segundo volante and poacher combine for the goal. Here's the play again at full speed. Our last example is from a different match, with my wingback on the ball. When he takes it to the sideline, our spacing is much less claustrophobic. The segundo volante and libero create an effective midfield combination. Now let's focus on our front three again. The trequartista will take the ball and work with the attacking midfielder and ball-winning midfielder. Again, the key role is the poacher. The focus on holding his position and the indifference to being part of our build-up keeps their center backs occupied. Our player positioning has opened up space for the segundo volante to make his trademark movement up the field. He'll combine with the poacher for the goal. Here's the play again at full speed. Here's the final tactic with those player roles. The team instructions I added are simple ones to help us keep possession. These instructions are more of a personal preference for this kind of formation, rather than something you need to apply to your tactic, but I wanted to show them anyway. These are the results from our recent form. Much better, and the team has improved a lot. If you're curious about any of the player roles we talked about in today's video, I've got different playlists that you can check out. I've also got a Patreon account if you'd like to support the channel. Anyway, that's all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching.